Hello students, good morning. Hope you are doing well. Today, this is our third lesson of Unit 9 Transport in Animals. And today we studied about 9.2 heartbeat and 9.3 blood vessels. For today's lesson, we have two objectives. Describe what happens during one heartbeat, and our second objective is identify the three types of blood vessels and state their functions. Okay, students, so first of all, what do you mean by heartbeat? A heartbeat is a one complete cycle of the heart contracting and relaxing to pump blood around the body. What happens during one heartbeat? Each heartbeat has two main phases. The first phase is called systole and the second phase is called diastole. In systole, heart muscles contract, blood is pumped out of the heart. And the second phase is diastole. It is also called heart muscle relax. The heart fills with blood again. So in simple word, what do you mean by heartbeat? A heartbeat is a one complete cycle of the heart when heart is contract and relax to pump blood around the body. It has two main phases. In first phase, heart muscles contract. When heart muscle contract, blood is pumped out of the heart. And the second phase is diastole. In diastole, or you can say the heart muscles relax. When heart muscles relax, the heart fills with blood again. Okay, students. So here is the first diagram is when heart is relaxed, and when heart is relaxed, heart fills with blood. And the second diagram is when the heart is contract. When the heart is contract, it can pumps the blood around the body. Okay, so next thing is what is pulse? Pulse is when the heart pumps blood, it creates a pressure wave in the arteries. This wave can be felt as a pulse and it is usually at wrist. At the wrist it is called radial artery and at the neck it is called carotid artery. So in simple word, when the heart pumps blood, it creates a pressure wave. When we felt this pressure wave, this is called pulse. Next thing is pulse rate. What do you mean by pulse rate? Pulse rate is the number of times your heart beats in 1 minute and it is measured in beats per minute, BPM. Students, you mostly see this in the movies. It is used to check whether a person is alive or dead, and this point is called carotid pulse. And this one, students, is the radial pulse at the wrist. And these are two common places where we can feel the pulse. Normal pulse rate is in adults 60 to 100 beats per minute, and in children it is usually higher, increase during exercise and decrease during rest. Okay, so next is ECG. ECG stands for electrocardiogram. Basically, this is a medical test to check the electrical activity of a heart. It shows how heart is beating, heart works properly or not. What does an ECG measure? Is each heartbeat produce an electrical signals that cause the heart muscles to contract. An ECG records these signals as a wave. P wave shows atria contract, QRS complex shows ventricles contract, and T wave shows heart muscles contract. So look student, this is our point P, okay, and this shows atria contract. Then this is a complex Q, R and S. QRS complex shows ventricle, how ventricles contract, and this one, the T wave, shows heart muscles relax. So in simple word, ECG is a medical test to check the activity of a heart works properly or not. Okay, so next thing is how we perform a ECG. We perform ECG with the ECG machine. With ECG machine we have electrodes. This one, these are called electrodes. Electrodes are attached to the body. After that we can get a print like this. This is called ECG result, and on this paper one full pattern represents one heartbeat, and we know this graph like this. This graph shows includes P, Q, R, S and T waves. Okay, so next is how does the heart beat? A heartbeat has three main steps. The first one is atria contact. What do you mean by atria? We already discussed this thing. For our heart, we have four chambers, two atria, two ventricles. The atria top chambers squeeze. Blood moves into the ventricle. So this is our first step. In the second step, ventricles contract. The ventricle contracts like the bottom chambers squeeze strongly. Blood is pumped from right ventricle to the lungs and left ventricle to the body. This stage is called systole, and we already discussed what do you mean by systole. Systole is when the heart is contract. This is called contraction. The third step is heart relaxes. All chamber relax, blood fills the heart again, and this stage is called diastole. And we already discussed what do you mean by diastole, when the heart is relaxed, and this stage is called relaxation. Okay students, so here is the summary. The first step is when atria contact. When atria contact, blood moves into the ventricle. When ventricle contacts, blood pumps to the lungs and body. And in the third step, heart fills with blood again. Okay students, so till here we can complete our first objective and the first topic, that is 9.2 heartbeat. Now we can start our second objective, and the topic is 9.3 blood vessels. What do you mean by blood vessels? In previous lecture we already discussed this thing. Blood vessels are the tubes that carry blood around the body. They are part of the circulatory system and work with the heart to transport oxygen, nutrients, hormones and waste products. There are three main types of blood vessels. The first one is arteries, veins and capillaries. Okay students, now we can discuss each blood vessels in detail one by one. Our first blood vessel is artery. What is the structure of artery? Artery has thick muscular wall, thick elastic fibers, narrow lumen. What do you mean by lumen? Lumen is the empty space inside the artery, this one. Artery has no walls, carry bloods at a high pressure. So students, look at this picture. This is artery has thick outer wall. Artery has thick layer of muscles and elastic fibers, and artery has a small lumen. And we can feel pulse at the at artery. So in the artery there is a high pressure of blood. Next thing is student, what is the function of artery? Carry blood away from the heart. Usually carry oxygenated blood. What do you mean by oxygenated blood? The blood that contains more oxygen. And but there is one exceptional case, and this is pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood. Why arteries have thick walls? Because blood leaves the heart at high pressure, so arteries need strong elastic walls to withstand high pressure, stretch and recoil, maintain blood flow. So that's why arteries have thick walls. Next type of blood vessel is veins. Again, the two main things: what is the structure of the vein and what is the function of the vein. Veins have thin muscular wall, wide lumen. In case of arteries they have narrow lumen, but in case of veins they have wide lumen. Veins have walls, but in case of arteries there is a no wall. Carry bloods at a low pressure, but arteries carry blood at a high pressure. Next, what is the function of veins? Carry bloods towards the heart, but arteries carries blood away from the heart. Okay students, look at this picture. Here this is thin outer wall, but in case of artery this is thick outer wall. Thin layer of muscles and elastic fibers, but in arteries there is a thick layer of muscles and elastic fiber. Here this is lumen. In case of veins, for veins there is a large lumen, but in case of arteries there is a small lumen. Here the pressure of the blood is low, but in case of arteries there is a high blood pressure. It usually carries deoxygenated blood, but only again there is one exceptional case, that is pulmonary vein. We already discussed in the lesson 2, pulmonary artery, the only artery that contain deoxygenated blood, and the pulmonary vein, the only vein that contain oxygenated blood. Rest of all the arteries contain oxygenated blood, and the rest of all the veins contain deoxygenated blood. Okay students, here one more important comparison between artery and veins. In veins there is a wall, but in case of arteries there is no wall. Why there is wall present in the veins? Blood pressure is low in veins, walls present backflow of blood and ensure one-way movement towards the heart. So that's why in veins we have a wall. Okay, so last blood vessel is capillaries. What is the structure of capillary? Capillary is only one cell thick. It has very narrow lumen, form large networks. Here shown, this is the structure of a capillary. This one, it is only one cell thick, very small lumen. Okay, what is the function of capillary? Connects arteries to vein. Shown here this is arteries. When arteries can subdivide, and it can change into arterioles. When arterioles subdivide, it can change into capillaries, and when capillaries further subdivide, it can change into a venules, and when venules can further subdivide, and it can change into a veins. So that's why it connects arteries to veins. Allow exchange of substances like oxygen, carbon dioxide, glucose and urea. So this is the main function of the capillaries. Here the exchange of oxygen, nutrients and waste. Why capillaries are one cell thick? Because it to allows fast diffusion, short diffusion distance and efficient exchange with the body cells. That's why capillaries are one cell thick. Okay student, here is the summary. The first point is direction of blood flow. Arteries we know away from the heart, veins towards the heart, capillaries connects arteries to veins. Blood pressure, the second point is in arteries it is very high, that's why we can feel pulse. In veins it's low, in capillaries very low. Next, wall thickness. Arteries is thick, muscular and elastic. In veins it is thin, less muscular, but in capillaries it is one cell thick. Lumen size. In case of arteries it is small, in case of veins it is large, in case of capillaries it is very small. Then walls. In arteries there is no walls, in veins yes, to maintain the one-way flow. In capillaries there is no wall. Then the type of blood. In case of arteries usually oxygenated, and there is only one exceptional case, and that is your pulmonary artery. In veins usually deoxygenated, only one exceptional case, and this is a pulmonary vein. And in capillaries both. What is the function? In arteries carries blood from heart to the body, like away from the heart. Veins carry blood towards the heart, and capillaries exchange of oxygen, nutrients and waste. Pulse present in arteries, yes. Why? Because there is a high pressure in the arteries. In veins, no. In capillaries, no. Okay, so here is the exit ticket. After watching the video and understanding each point, answer to these questions in the comment box, so I will check your comments. Stay safe. Goodbye.